Good evening, officers. Good evening, councillors. I'm Councillor Derek Paul. I'm the chairman for this meeting of Cabinet tonight, the 4th of December 2023. Before I start the proceedings, I have some housekeeping. There is no fire drill scheduled in the building this evening. If the fire alarm sounds, therefore, please, could I ask that you make your way down the main staircase, out of the main doors of the town hall, and congregate at the entrance to Caldecott Park. An officer of the council will then give instructions when it is safe to re-enter the building. Thank you. First item on the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, is the minutes of the last meeting. Can I take it that those minutes are passed and approved? I'll move it from the chair. Seconder, please. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 2, apologies. Are there any apologies, Executive Director, please?
Chair, we've apologies from Councillor Moran and Councillor Carrie-Anne Dumbleton.
Thank you. Declarations of interest. Item 3, to receive declarations of interest of non-pecuniary interests as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for all councillors. No. B, pecuniary interests as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for councillors. No. And C, notice under Section 106, Local Government Finance Act 1992, non-payment of community charge or council tax. No, thank you. Agenda item 4, question time. Are there any questions, Executive Director, please? Sorry, Chief Executive.
There are none, Chair.
Thank you. Item 5, growth and investment portfolio. Councillor Picker.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, happy to just move this one as written. It's relatively minor updates to the Willoughby Neighbourhood Development Plan, and they should just be approved so that the plan can be made. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mistry.
No, Chair. Thank you.
Rodas, no. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 6, leisure and wellbeing portfolio. Creation of a duty manager at the Ben Hall.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, the Ben Hall is a really positive news story for rugby. The service has seen a fantastic growth in bookings, bar sales and ticket income, and is actually now exceeding pre-pandemic delivery. However, this is having an impact on the level of staffing that they currently have, and they're now having to rely a lot on overtime working and additional casual staffing, and then we're also having to refuse bookings. So the creation of this additional role will just add extra capacity. There's already a significant number of bookings for 2024 and 2025, which makes this seem like a sensible move. In addition, we're currently overspending on the budget for casual staff because we're relying on additional staff to come in and help resource some of these events. So I think it's a really good move. I think it will allow the Ben Hall to continue to grow, and I just wanted to thank the officers who are doing the work at the Ben Hall for their fantastic work that's seen it become a real quality venue in the Midlands.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. Councillor Mistry.
Yeah, it is a good news because I think after COVID and pandemic, we've seen the same at the Indian Centre. We are fully booked. So I think life is getting back to normal, and hopefully it'll be good for the economy as well.
Councillor Rodas.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago, was it, that we were talking about closing it and getting rid of it and whatever. So it's it is welcome to see the improvements and all the hard work to the staff if we can pass that back to them.
Thank you. Yes, it's testament to Councillor Daly's portfolio and the Chief Officer for that leisure and wellbeing portfolio to see it being used as it should be used. It's been a long time coming, and thank you for your two members opposite for your comments. I'll move it from the chair. Seconder, please. Seconded at Councillor Daly. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 7, Councillor Daly again. Football pitch improvement programme, please.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a 6-year improvement programme in partnership with the Football Foundation, and it seeks formal approval to enter a partnership with the Rugby and District Sunday League to enable that community funding. So the council can't apply for that community funding directly. What it will entail is £204,000 worth of work over 6 years. 102,000 or so of that will come from the Football Foundation, and then the rest will be matched by us through Section 106 contributions, which are collected specifically specifically ring-fenced, for the maintenance of council-owned sports pitches. What it will do is ensure these council football pitches are raised from a poor condition to a good condition, which means more matches can be played on them and there'll be better quality pitches. The kind of work that will be done is some turf work, drainage work. It should just improve the pitches in the long term. It's a really positive move, I think.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. Councillor Mistry?
Yeah, Chair, welcome this report. I think my last connection with Birmingham County Football Association was when I used to be secretary, trying to bail out the footballer who were, suspended or sent off, So it is a nice change to make that, welcome that. And hopefully, I've played football and cricket on those pitches. So any improvement, will reduce the injuries as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the pitches at GEC and Winfield that are going downhill, so this is quite welcome to actually get that improved and taken forward in relation to that. Just need to sort out the car parking then when they all arrive to play and park all over the place at the same time, really.
The car parking is another issue. Thank you for the comment, Councillor Roadhouse. Good comments again for your portfolio, Councillor Daly. I'll move it from the chair. Seconder, please. Councillor Daly, all those in favour? Passed, thank you. Item 8, Finance, Performance, Legal and Governance Portfolio. Councillor Ms Robbins.
Yes, thank you, Chair. This is the Q2 Finance and Performance Monitoring, and members will note that in the introduction we talk about the pressures on both housing and on the general fund. And this is pretty much what's been reported up to date on. Sorry, lost my page. Here we go. Right, the pressures on the housing are very small, as they are now virtually showing a balanced budget. General fund balances, we are looking at now around about £282,000 in pressures. That will be reduced down to around £10,000, which will be the final pressure at the end of the year. I would like to draw members' attention to the Appendix 3, which refers to the voids management. I hope members have all seen the paper and have read the voids management. As you will note on that, there is an amount of £485,000 which is required, which does not show in the actual recommendation for this particular item. So I would like to call on my colleague Carolyn Watson-Merritt to move a supplementary budget recommendation.
Councillor Watson-Merritt.
Thank you, Chair. It be recommended to Council that a supplementary budget of £485,000 be established to support with the additional costs of Council House void repairs as per the Appendix 3 of the report, which is headed Briefing Paper Voids Management.
Thank you. Who will second that motion, please? I will. Thank you. All those in favour? Chair. I was just making sure it was moved and seconded first. Oh, okay. Thank you. All those in favour? You don't have to? After the amendment. After the amendment. Councillor Mistry.
Thank you, Chair. Probably the most important item on the agenda tonight. We spent at length last week discussing the state of the council financing. you know, the pressure, the portfolio they mentioned, but there are big pressure in terms of on the planning income. You're looking at nearly 360 odd. And I find it strange, the planning appeal, 112,000, you know, through the committee, you know, when they're going against the recommendation of the officer time and time again. That needs to be challenged as well when you've got your own chairman. If I remember right, last year, your predecessor leader got up and said, green waste, we're not going to increase the charge in it. Here we are, 214,000 K deficit. We are, you know, for all reasons. For example, you know, shortage of staff, temporary employment, sickness, etc. You know, so I recognize that. But here we had the opportunity. It was a good political score on that side, and looking at the other side, the item that it may be a one-off in terms of void, which the scrutiny. We didn't get the report on the scrutiny in the fall, you know, we should have had. And we discussed the void and how we end up to this stage where we are now spending 485,000 and, you know, pound. It's a lot of money. I know it's one-off, and we still got to do the housing stock survey. So I'm not going to show what that's going to bring up, yeah? So also there is an income shortfall on the HRA of 275K, you know, and the property repair, you're looking at overspent of £500,000, and maybe whatever reason they are, because we don't have internal staff, you have to subcontract. So the picture isn't very good, you know. So what I would like to say, through you, Chair, we didn't discuss this last week, what is the growth plan to address that? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. You know as well as I do that voids are a major topic in this council at the moment, and the portfolio holder has been told that we need, under item 3, that we need an extra 485,000 to get these properties sorted and quickly, and that's what we've got to do, Councillor Mystery. I know what your comments you've made. It's a fact of life, I'm afraid. We've got to get these properties sorted and back on the market, not only for us, for our benefit, the council's benefit, but for the people out there. We need housing. Councillor Roodhouse.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, quite clearly at this point in time, with the finances the way they are, hopefully we'll get a better picture by December the 24th or whatever, midnight, when the local government settlement comes in, to give us a true position about where the local authority stands. But clearly there are some extreme pressures. And I note in the appendix as well the head count against particular lines as well, and the vacancies and the changes in sickness and the rest of it as well, which needs to be looked at. The position about voids is clearly something that needs to be tackled head on. It is a lot of money to spend, and the question is, when that money starts being released and spent, is actually tracking it to make sure it's working and making an effect, really. And so we're getting every pound for our pound for pound, and it's going in, and we get that turnaround. So I would hope that we would get a quick early report back from the release of that money going in, that actually it is making an impact and is making an effect. And that would come back to, I don't know, all members or circulated via Cabinet in a report of some description. But I think for that investment, we need to see things moving forward. And quite clearly, the Chief Officer thinks that's going to help in relation to that. I think certainly from what I know that we can't stay as we are, and we do need to inject something in to get the pace up, because the voids have been around for some time, really. So, I mean, that's all I really want to say at this point of time around it. And no doubt as we go through the budget cycle, we'll be picking things up with the Chief Officer of Finance and others as we move through Christmas. And no doubt we'll come forward with proposals in the new year, and then we'll see what happens at budget time, won't we?
Thank you, Councillor Roodhouse. Councillor Picker.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to come back on a couple of points that Councillor Mystery correctly raised regarding planning and the figures relating to the planning department. Obviously, like most local planning authorities, we have seen a reduction in anticipated planning fees because of the economic situation more broadly. There is, however, some good news in recent government announcements involving raising the amount that we can charge for planning fees. So hopefully that and the economy starting to grow again will address that. In terms of the planning appeals, you, I think, said that 2 were refused by the planning committee. One of them was with officer recommendation, and obviously where the committee makes a decision, then this council will defend that position as robustly as it's able to do so, and I make no apology for that.
Thank you. Councillor Ms Robbins.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I would just like to come back, Councillor Mystery, on the report. Bearing in mind this is Q2 report, we are now into Q3. This particular position, I believe, was pretty much the same last year. However, at the end of the year, we did provide a balanced budget, as we always do. And I am quite confident that we will have a balanced budget and that we will move forward into next year with a good programme. And I have got no fears whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Robbins. I'd like to say from the Chair that I will personally work with both portfolio holders and get a report back to Councillor Roadhouse ASAP. I'm not saying when, but as soon as it's practicable to get one. Thank you. I'll move it from the Chair that we act that. Okay, we accept that amendment. All those in favour? Thank you.
Just ask for clarification. Is it all 4 items been going to the council, or is it just the 4th item?
This is just to recommend item 4 because it's a new.
Okay.
It's a new one. Then we'll. So we're going to the vote now for the full item. I'll move it from the Chair. We accept the item as it is as a whole. Items 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'll move it from the Chair. Seconder, please. Councillor Watson Merritt. All those in favour? Thank you. Right, moving swiftly on. Item 9. Council, Communities, Homes and Digital Communications Portfolio. Councillor Willis. Item 9, Council Tax Reduction Scheme, please.
Lovely, thank you, Chair. This report sets out the context as to why local council tax reduction scheme is needed, as well as the proposal to maintain our current 85% reduction. Any change, and I would ask members to note, from the existing scheme would require consultation with our other preceptors, i.e. the police and Warwickshire County Council. Any change, is worth noting, would see significant cost to the Borough Council and the preceptors as per section 5 of the report. For example, if we were to move to 90%, there would be an additional cost of £222,000, and indeed if we went to 100%, over £660,000. The way forward, as suggested, is to maintain the scheme, and the recommendation is that the council tax reduction scheme for 23-24 be adopted as the borough's local CTRS for 24-25. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Willis. Councillor Mystery? No. Councillor Roadhouse? No. I'll move it from the Chair. You'll second that. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Councillor Willis again. Additional Disabled Facilities Grant 23-24, please.
Thank you, Chair. This report sets out the proposal to transfer additional funding at an evening when we talked about reduction in funding. Additional funding of over £62,000 for the further delivery of the Disabled Facilities Grant, HEART, an item that was debated in this chamber not so long ago. We already have secured £717,000 in 23-24. The welcome addition of £62,586 will see us enable or increase in the delivery level of these services, i.e. disabled facilities for some of our most vulnerable residents. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Willis. Councillor Mystery. Councillor Roadhouse.
Yeah, like Councillor Willis, I think I welcome this because of the works that's done with Disabled Facilities Grant is good stuff. So any extra funding that comes into that is going to help keep people in their homes for longer, which is the good thing to do.
Thank you, Councillor Roadhouse.
I second your comments, Councillor Roadhouse. Thank you. I'll move it from the Chair. Seconder, please. Councillor Willis. All those in favour? Granted, thank you. Item 11, support for the voluntary and community sector 24-25, Councillor Willis.
Thank you, Chair. This report outlines the proposal for the Borough Council's financial support for the voluntary and community sector in Rugby, which is to be considered as part of our budget setting process for 24-25. And just to remind members, funding for Brandcab and Carver is not covered, as these are actually contractual relationships. In terms of the current position, the support offer has evolved over time to take account of new opportunities, most notably the introduction of the Rugby Lotto. In terms of way forward, we look at proposed continued investment, allowing for 6.7% inflation. And in 24-25, a proposed fund of £1,000 for each community association. This will be an opportunity to nurture smaller groups for funding of up to £300 and will help to redefine the role of the Borough Council as an enabler. Further evidence in terms of the ring-fenced reserve which we've held in previous years, the proposal is to reduce that from £15,000 down to £10,000. Members will be aware there has been very little, if any, spend on that in recent years. So the recommendation is made to continue funding for the food bank at 23-24 levels, but with an uplift to allow for inflation during 24-25 in response to what has been a 20% increase in food bank usage. That's 10,000 customers in 23-24. That will uplift from 68,000 to 72,500. So recommendation that the grant funding is maintained as per the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you to Councillor Willis. And before I offer to the members on my left, I think every penny we can give the voluntary community sector is well worth it. Thank you for your efforts. Councillor Mistry.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I welcome this SLA increase because it hasn't gone up for a while, I think. You know, it started, I think, if I believe, 5,000, 6,000, 7,500. And I remember being the chairman of one of the association going back a long time. And they're under a lot of pressure in terms of cost and, in terms of utility, etc. And this will be welcomed by all the community associations. So it's in the right direction. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mistry. Councillor Roadhouse.
Yeah, I mean, as Councillor Mistry said, it's got to be welcome to actually do that increase. I suppose the one question I've got around all of this and around the SLAs going in is whether there could be some mechanism of an annual report that comes back about actually what they're achieving in the range of levelling up or whatever it might be underneath those headings. Even like the local authorities giving them money, we have priorities to do, corporate priorities. It'd be an annual report coming back about what they fit on those corporate priorities and how they've helped and support that, I think may be useful.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Roodhouse, for the observations and indeed suggestions, which I will be more than happy to take up with the Chief Officer and then feed back to you as appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll move it from the Chair. Seconder, please. Councillor Willis, all in favour? Thank you. Unanimous. Item 12, Housing Revenue Account Stock Condition Survey, please.
Thank you, Chair. This report sets out the recommendations for conducting Phase 1 of what will be a stock condition survey, potentially long overdue from what we've already heard this evening in this chamber, with regard to housing revenue account properties. 60% of homes and 100% of communal areas, as well as energy performance certificates for 700 properties, will form part of this phase. The cost of Phase 1 will be £283,000 and will be met from HRA reserves. The proposal also recommends that as part of future budget setting, provision should be made for delivering a rolling programme of surveys of 20% per annum. It should be noted that the scale, the logistics and the risks associated with this project require that the work is best undertaken by a suitably qualified, experienced and adequately resourced contractor, for which we know currently there is high demand. This sector, like any other, suffers from both the recruitment and retention challenges. In terms of standards, safety and quality standards will be, there are 4 standards to be applied: safety and quality standard, transparency, influence and accountability standard, neighbourhood and community standard, and finally a tenancy standard. In terms of the first phase, as outlined in section 3.2 of the report, this will comprise of 2,300 surveys, 200 communal areas and 700 energy performance certificates, in line with the regulations being brought forward by the housing regulator. So the recommendation is we continue with this stock condition survey as phase 1 at a cost of £280,000 and then continue a rolling programme of 20% stock condition surveys and 350 energy performance certificates. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Willis. Councillor Mystery.
Yeah, Chair, I think I welcome this report. It's something that we've been talking to the officers about, because you pick up a lot of issues where, I mean, we hold probably 4,000 stock in our portfolio, and it gives you a chance to raise the standard. I'm not saying we're probably a lot better than other council, but on the flip side is that you got private landlord, people get mixed up, you got housing association, and that needs to be addressed as well, I think. And when we haven't got enough stock on our side, people then end up on the other side. And I know we have to go through the environment condition, and I'm sure the officers are aware of it, that, you know, it's not up to standard, that the private sector. And hopefully we need to set a benchmark where we make sure that we get people up to that standard, and they pay a lot more money to rent those things in the private sector as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mystery. Councillor Roadhouse.
Yeah, I mean, this has come about, doesn't it, through the new regulations and the new law of the land, which has to be followed. But is it the right thing to do? It's the right thing to do, because the stock condition for our landlord duty has not been done for some time. And as Councillor Willis and I will know, having a good quality EPC certificate helps you get grants and things. So, so it all plays into that element going forward. And to a certain extent, Councillor Mystery saying we should be setting a benchmark. I think we're not far from doing that, and have done, even though we haven't been doing the stock condition survey. I think compared to a lot of other properties that I know, that the council housing stock is in, you know, not too bad a condition, but it could be a lot better than what it is. But we don't understand the stock we've got, really, and that's the issue at hand, and we need to truly understand that. Housing associations are housing associations. It's only taken me 3 years with one, and we still haven't found a conclusion yet. We're nearly there. We're now with lawyers, so, you know, they are what they are. And I think, from my perspective, a lot of the housing associations that operate are just way too big, and they operate as massive businesses, and they've just lost sight of exactly what they're there to do. But where we can call them out, I think we should call them out to the housing regulator, especially if they're a registered social landlord, which is the right course of action, I think, to do that. And I'd encourage any councillors or anybody to do that, and certainly report them into there and allow the course of the legal law to take its course. I've done that before, and I won't go against it again. If I come across people in the private rented sector, housing associations living in damp, poor properties, I'll report them as the locally elected member through the system and allow the system to get hold of them. And now, you know, hopefully the law of the land, if it stands by what it says, will actually, there will be some enforcement that will take place.
Thank you for your comments. Councillor Willis, I think we're moving in the right direction. Apologies, Councillor Ms Robbins.
I just wanted to say, Chair, some years ago, and I'm going back 20 years, well, more than 20 years, the decision was made by this council to keep our housing stock, and Councillor Roothouse will remember that, I'm sure, because he was around at the time. And we made an absolute decision that we would not sell our housing stock to housing associations. And I think that that was an absolutely perfect right idea, looking at the way that housing associations are and the problems they are having. I think keeping our housing in-house, so to speak, was definitely the right thing to do. Thank you.
Again, thank you for your comments. What I was going to allude to, I think Councillor Willis, with this stock condition survey, it's going in the right direction. We must keep on top of what we've got and progress, move forward as a council. Thank you. I'll move it from the chair. All those in favour? Oh, seconded. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Miss Merrick. Thank you. All those in favour? First mistake. Never mind. Right, item 13. The following item contains reports which could be considered en bloc, subject...
Item 12. Oh, sorry.
We've just done 12. Item 13, en bloc. Subject to any portfolio holder requesting discussion for an individual report. 13, Treasury Management Mid-Year Report 23-24. Thank you. Any questions from the... Yeah, no. I'll move it from the chair. A seconder, please. Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 14 is a motion to exclude the public under section 100A(4) of the Local Government Act 1972 to consider the following resolution under section 100A(4) of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the meeting for the following items on the grounds that they may involve the likely disclosure of information defined in paragraphs 2 and 3 of Schedule 12A of the Act. Could you stop